Countdown. Hi, welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show, where I talk about news that interests me. And today we're going to talk about Joe Rogan, Spotify, and Neil Young. I'll play you the video, and then I will share a few words right afterwards. So hold tight. Here we go. Eventually. Alright, why it's not doing what it's supposed to do. We're buffering. Hold on.
My parents were vaccinated. I just said, I don't think that if you're a young, healthy person, that you need it.
This morning, Spotify's most popular podcaster, Joe Rogan, famously known for questioning vaccine safety, may have caused the streaming platform a rock icon. Neil Young demanding his music be scrubbed from Spotify in a since-deleted letter reported by Rolling Stone magazine. I am doing this because Spotify is spreading fake information about vaccines, Young wrote in a post NBC News has not viewed. The Harvest Moon singer reportedly putting forth an ultimatum. They can have Rogan or Young. Not both. The fallout on the heels of the podcast host's continued controversial comments.
It's a completely new kind of vaccine. The idea that people shouldn't be skeptical or nervous about that is kind of hilarious.
A recent episode also featured a virologist who said Americans have been hypnotized into getting vaccinated. Those statements reaching Rogan's millions of followers and driving a coalition of scientists and researchers to call on Spotify this month to establish a clear and public policy to moderate misinformation.
We are not, again, asking for the censorship or removal or even deplatforming of a person or a podcast. We're asking for responsible actions to make sure that consumers of that information are properly warned.
Even the 54-year-old's own battle with COVID stirring up controversy.
Turns out I got COVID. So we immediately threw the kitchen sink at him.
Revealing he took ivermectin, which the FDA has approved to treat parasitic worms in humans, but not COVID-19. That decision blasted by radio host Howard Stern.
I heard Joe Rogan was saying I took horse dewormer, and a doctor gave it to me. Well, a doctor would also give you a vaccine. So why take horse dewormer?
Rogan hosts a range of medical experts on his podcast and assures he's not anti-vax, sharing he nearly got vaccinated. Still, he has appeared to discourage young people from getting the jabs, to which Dr. Fauci told Savannah,
even if I get infected, I can do damage to somebody else, even if I have no symptoms at all.
So you say young, healthy people should get vaccinated?
Absolutely.
So Emily, back to Neil Young for a second. He's made these kind of threats over music before, right?
Yeah, that's right, Hoda. Back in 2015, the Grammy winner took his music off of Spotify, taking issue with the sound quality of the platform. But he ultimately relented, saying Spotify is where people get music. I should add, neither Neil Young nor Joe Rogan responded to our request for comment, and Spotify says it continues to update its guidelines. The platform has removed more than 40 of Rogan's episodes, though none for reasons related to the pandemic. Guys, back to you.
All right, Emily, thank you so much.
All right, well, I'm going to have to download Harvest Moon because I can't live without that or not.
Well, there you have it. The great Joe Rogan, Neil Young battle of 2022. What a great way, and what a new twist on America's culture war. And the thing about it is, well, I mean, what I have to say is, let's talk about Neil Young for a second. And, you know, for some of you young people, probably not familiar, some of you would be, but Neil Young is a folk rock singer, started in the 1960s span. I think he's been around prior to the Buffalo Springfield, but he was with the Buffalo Springfield, and after Buffalo Springfield, he was with Crosby, Still, Nash and Young, and then obviously when it was Crosby, Stills and Nash, Young wasn't involved. and he was a solo artist, and then and he's been very influential in music. And when it comes to the politics of Neil Young versus Leonard Skinner, I'm with Neil Young all the way. And with Neil Young all the way. So, and also delighted to know that he was a Bernie Sanders supporter. So, Neil Young is way based and all of that. Now, with regard to this battle going on between Neil Young and Joe Rogan, let's just say that I have no animosity in the year 2022 toward Joe Rogan, but I will tell you I'll tell you essentially a quick story about Joe Rogan. In the year 2000, on Politically Incorrect, starring Bill Maher. Y'all remember Politically Incorrect, don't you? Yeah, on Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher, Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was a guest on the show, and another person that was also a guest on the show. Hold on here, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to show you first is a historical photo from November 6, 1965. This is a memorable cultural photo of the 1960s. If you notice the guy right there, hold on, right here, the guy with the glasses, the tall gentleman with the glasses and slightly receding hairline. And I know because I knew the late David McReynolds. It was David McReynolds there, burning a draft card at Madison Square Garden. One of the earliest protests against the war in Vietnam. David McReynolds was well known as a peace activist with the War Resisters League. This relates to Joe Rogan and Neil Young, by the way. David McReynolds was with the War Resisters League. He ended up being the first out-of-the-closet gay man to run for president in the year 1980. And in the year 2000, he ran for president once again. And so let's as I said, we're going to go into Joe Rogan in just a moment. But David McReynolds fits in this equation. Because there's always a socialist spin on what I have to say. David McReynolds, as I said, he ran for president in 1980 as the first out-of-the-closet gay man, and in 2000 he ran for president once again. And he was, as I said, well-known peace activist and very much a fighter for racial equality, civil liberties. Just equality across the board for anti-war activism. The man's gotten arrested more than you could ever imagine anybody getting arrested, and he is, and I knew him. I mean, I'm not going to say we were like extremely close bestie buddies or anything like that, but I knew David McReynolds. He knew me, and when he died at the age of 88 in New York in 2018, and I hope that he's resting in peace right now. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, in the year 2000 on Joe Rogan, I was a little bit upset with Joe Rogan. And give me a moment here. Graphics wise, everything is relevant. Everything is relevant. Everything. Every bloody thing is relevant. Well, we're going to go back to this photo here. Joe Rogan, which relates to Joe Rogan and Neil Young. When Joe Rogan was a guest on Bill Maher's Politically Incorrect, along with David McReynolds, is what I'm basically trying to say, and he was pretty much a shit to David McReynolds, making fun of his socialism, making fun of his basic politics, And what's interesting about it is that I had a low opinion of Joe Rogan, and I written him off in the year 2000 as essentially a right-leaning libertarian. I mean, I wouldn't call him the worst conservative around, but he seemed like very libertarian and very kind of like a douchebag about it, like a very right-leaning libertarian. And when I was driving David McReynolds around in North Carolina when he was visiting in 2002, we were talking in the car and about Joe Rogan, his appearance on Politically Incorrect, and David told me, when I told him I thought that Joe Rogan was an asshole, and David told me, "Oh, I wouldn't worry about Joe Rogan. I met him in the green room. He was fine. He was just playing the part." And what's interesting about that is that I was like, okay, it's kind of douchey that he's playing that kind of a part. But 2 years ago, because of Kyle Kalinske, he was able to get Bernie Sanders on the Joe Rogan podcast. And what's awesome about it is that Joe Rogan ended up endorsing Bernie Sanders, which I think would make the late David McReynolds very proud, since David McReynolds knew Bernie Sanders when he was alive. Well, Bernie Sanders is still alive, but when David McReynolds was still alive. But anyway, that's pretty much my story about my personal take on Joe Rogan. I had an absolute negative opinion of him. My opinion of him slightly improved when he endorsed Bernie Sanders. While I do not hate Joe Rogan now, but Joe Rogan seems to he takes a turn to the left, he takes a turn to the right, and he seems to not be able to decide where he's at politically. But I am not going to be one of those people that wants to cancel culture him over his personal politics. Sometimes he leans left, sometimes he leans right. But what I think it is that, Dave Rubin hates Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan made him look like a fool over the issue of building codes, because David Rubin was doing a sloppy job trying to serve the libertarian Kool-Aid about having no regulations is going to cause building, there'll be no need for building codes because the profit motive is going to incentivize companies to police their own safety and all of that, which is bullshit. They're gonna do what they can to make a profit whenever they can and try to get away with as much as they can and pay as little as possible doing so. That's just the damn truth. And Joe Rogan basically showed him that, proved him on that, and so he's had animosity toward Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan didn't really want him back because he knew that Dave Rubin was an idiot. Well, Dave Rubin was criticizing Joe Rogan for moving to Texas because apparently, he voted for Bernie Sanders in the primaries in California, and we don't want that kind of liberalism in Texas, which is really strange because Texas ain't exactly LGBTQ friendly territory, and Dave Rubin, who's a gay man, is sitting there trying to speak for the values of Texas. I mean, whatever. But anyway, Joe Rogan's a grown man. He can move wherever the fuck he wants to move to. But anyway, the thing about it is that Neil Young is upset because, Joe Rogan has his own outlook toward COVID and vaccines and what to do. It's a unique look. You can call it information. You can call it misinformation. I pretty much don't agree with Joe Rogan on the situation, but he is entitled to his views on the vaccine. But Neil Young wants his music removed from Spotify because he doesn't want to be part of a platform with Joe Rogan where potential misinformation about the virus is being spread. Well, I mean, and the thing about it is that I want to say it like it is. I mean, at as far as sharing the same platform, I don't think it's that big a deal, for starters. But people want to sit there and say who's the good guy and who's the bad guy in this situation. I say neither individual is a good guy or the bad guy. That's where I stand. Joe Rogan, he's got a right to say whatever the hell he wants to say about it, and I don't have to agree with it. I did my part. I wear the mask, and you've heard me say this occasionally, with North Carolina's guidelines being somewhat relaxed, I'm not going to wear a mask if I don't have to wear a mask unless I feel like I really need to wear a mask. I kind of like that in that regard. I have had the jab in me. I had my 2 shots last year, and recently I had my booster shot. And I am going to hope that I never get COVID. I'm going to hope I never get COVID. And what I like to see is all the truthful information. Now can't stop bad information or misinformation. And there is a freedom of speech connection to this. I feel like I don't want the First Amendment to be eroded. It is a small price you have to pay. I hate to put it that way, but it's a slippery slope if we start trying to control what we think is correct information or not. Because if you go and start cancel culturing people out because of what you perceive as bad information, just think about if social media would have been around in 2002, 2003. Those of us, and I will count me in as one of those folks from day one who opposed the Iraq War, and we thought that the United States going into Iraq was bullshit. We were proven to be correct, but many of us would have been canceled out 20 years ago over the Iraq War. And that's what you got to think about. So while I don't like Joe Rogan spreading misinformation, I have to defend his right to do so. I have to defend his right to do so, and I may lose subscribers saying this. I hope I don't, but at the same time, I do think his information is bullshit, and my personal opinion is that I think that people ought to get the vaccine, but I think it should be up to the individual whether they want to or not. But I think it would be better if they did, and I think it would be better if they do their part to try to get us back to normal as soon as possible. I mean, I don't want to follow the Howard Stern way of turning people away from medical help. That's stupid. That if you get COVID and you weren't vaccinated and you're a vaccine skeptic and you refuse to wear a mask and you get COVID, that a hospital should turn you away. That's monstrous. And what's that's going to? You think that's going to help put a stop to COVID? No, that's going to spread it around because those motherfuckers who are not being treated for COVID, they're going to go spreading it around more and more and more. So I don't agree with that. I think it's absolutely criminal to do such a thing. So yeah, I don't like the fact that Joe Rogan is spreading misinformation, but people are entitled to believe whatever fucked up beliefs they have. I mean, just how it is. But as far as Neil Young, I do understand where he's coming from, and I do like to listen to Neil Young. Never saw him live. I almost saw him live back in 2011. Had a scheduling conflict at work that I wasn't able to, which I was upset about. But the thing is that that as far as this whole hubbub is concerned and everything. I think I will play some Neil Young later on today. Not on this little video podcast because there will be a copyright strike against me. And I have some of those already. Just sometimes when you're trying to put information out, it's kind of bullshit. You got to have these copyright strikes. It kind of pins you down and all of that. So anyway, that's pretty much what I have to say. We have a chat line here. Propaganda Live says, Willie, we need you to join the Free Mr. Wilson team. Wilson is possibly facing death. Propaganda, I do have a question to ask you, and maybe I'm dumb as dirt, but you mentioned that yesterday. Who the hell is Mr. Wilson? Could you tell me who Mr. Wilson is? Enlighten me, because I really don't know what you were talking about yesterday. I'm not being rude. I just don't know what you were talking about. His whole family is facing death for Xena. For Xena. His whole family is facing death for Xena. I am actually at a loss. Can you specify, please? If you don't mind, specify so I will be able to understand, because I don't understand what's going on there. But let's see. Mr. Wilson is a friend from Pakistan. Mr. Wilson. Look up Mr. Wilson is live. Okay. It's my friend. Let's see. Hold on here. Give me a moment. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Mr. Wilson is my friend from Pakistan. Let's see. Look up Mr. Wilson is live. And Xena is an Islamic law. Oh, kind of like Sharia? Oh, I'm so sad. Well, I'm sorry that everything. Oh, his family is close to me. Oh, it's somebody you know then. Well, I hope everything works out for the best. So, anyway, let me just say that if everyone likes what they heard, press like and comment, and share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we're the muckrakers of our time. Subscribe to this channel, as I said, and share it and help make it grow. And until next time, keep that red flag flying, keep the class struggle going, and free Julian Assange. And let me answer this before I conclude. Yeah, it's part of Sharia law. Let's see what we got here. Willie, we're starting a campaign for him. We'd love to get you more information. Okay, she leaves some information down on the comment section. I'll see what I can do. Right now, I am going to exit out of here because I'm sleepy as hell. I work graveyard shift. Worst part about doing this podcast is that sometimes it shows that I'm sleepy. So, and for that, I do apologize to each and every one of you. So there. Right now, I am going to say au revoir.